Welcome to Defense Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Moody's downgrades Israel's credit rating, citing war in Gaza. No respite for Sunak as his gaffes blunt Tory attacks on labor. War-scarred Sarajevo celebrates 40th anniversary of 1984 Winter Olympics and looks to the future. UN experts investigating 58 suspected North Korean cyber attacks valued at about $3 billion. As Ukraine appoints new army chief, huge problems remain in its fight with Russia. Moody's downgrades Israel's credit rating, citing war in Gaza. Washington Post. No respite for Sunak as his gaffes blunt Tory attacks on labor. Bloomberg. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has had a difficult week, with setbacks including an argument with the family of a murdered teenager and an on-air bet about deporting asylum seekers. This comes at a critical time for Sunak, as his Conservative Party struggles to establish a winning election campaign narrative. The Tories had planned to spend the opening weeks of 2024 focusing on the economy turning a corner and encouraging voters to stick with Sunak rather than returning to square one with opposition leader, Keir Starmer. However, this narrative may hit a bump in the road with data predicted to show an increase in consumer prices and the potential confirmation of a technical recession at the end of last year. Additionally, there are concerns within the Conservative Party about Sunak's political instincts, with criticism that he lacks the ability to react quickly under pressure. The setbacks and concerns about Sunak's performance are a cause for worry for the Prime Minister, especially considering Labour's commanding lead in the polls and the limited time before the election. War-scarred Sarajevo celebrates 40th anniversary of 1984 Winter Olympics and looks to the future. Associated Press. Sarajevo is marking the 40th anniversary of the 1984 Winter Olympics, which brought opportunity and prosperity to the city before the outbreak of war in the 1990s. The Olympics helped Sarajevo establish itself as a winter tourist destination and attracted thousands of athletes and tourists from around the world. Today, the city is looking to the future and considering a bid to host the 2032 Winter Youth Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee has praised Sarajevo for its efforts in rebuilding its Olympic heritage after the war. UN experts investigating 58 suspected North Korean cyber attacks valued at about $3 billion. The Globe and Mail. UN experts have revealed that they are investigating 58 suspected cyber attacks by North Korea between 2017 and 2023, valued at around $3 billion. The money is believed to have been used to fund the country's development of weapons of mass destruction. The cyber attacks have been carried out by hacking groups reporting to the Reconnaissance General Bureau, North Korea's primary foreign intelligence organization. The experts also reported that North Korea has continued to develop nuclear weapons and produce nuclear fissile materials, while activities at the country's Punggye-ri nuclear test site have continued. As Ukraine appoints new army chief, huge problems remain in its fight with Russia. South China Morning Post. Ukraine's new military chief, Colonel General Oleksandr Syrsky, has outlined his immediate goals of improving troop rotation at the front lines and utilizing new technology. Syrsky replaced General Valery Zaluzhnyi, who was broadly popular. The change marks a shift in the country's war strategy, with a greater emphasis on technology and command and control. Ukraine is facing several challenges, including a shortage of manpower, inadequate supply of Western weapons, and a lack of ammunition. Syrsky is expected to take a more aggressive approach, aligning with President Volodymyr Zelensky's desire for a fresh approach to the conflict. The move has caused some apprehension in Kyiv, with protesters gathering in Independence Square to demand the reinstatement of Zaluzhnyi. The country is largely dependent on support from Western countries, but signs of war fatigue have emerged. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has urged the US to recognize Moscow's interests and persuade Ukraine to engage in talks. Through his coaching tree, Lavelle Edwards' influence on football will never cease. Yahoo! Lavelle Edwards, the former head coach of Brigham Young University, BYU, is known for creating a successful coaching academy during his 29-year tenure at the school. Edwards won 257 games, 19 conference titles, and a national championship by bringing together a team of brilliant coaches. Over 20 college head coaches and a number of accomplished coordinators spent time on BYU's staff with Edwards. 3 NFL head coaches have come from BYU, with each of them winning a Super Bowl, including Andy Reid, who currently coaches the Kansas City Chiefs. Reid got his start in coaching at BYU under Edwards, who noticed his attention to detail and encouraged him to pursue a career in coaching. Reid is known for his innovative offensive schemes and is considered one of the best coaches in the NFL. Another successful coach to come from the Lavelle Edwards coaching tree is Mike Holmgren. Holmgren served as the quarterbacks coach at BYU and helped develop star quarterbacks Steve Young and Robbie Bosco. He went on to coach in the NFL, leading the Green Bay Packers to a Super Bowl victory and later taking the Seattle Seahawks to the Super Bowl as well. Holmgren is known for his ability to develop quarterbacks and has been inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame and the Seahawks Ring of Honor. Other successful coaches who learned under Edwards include Brian Billick, who led the Baltimore Ravens to a Super Bowl victory, Kyle Whittingham, who has had a successful career as the head coach of the University of Utah football team, and Mike Leach, who is known for his innovative offensive schemes and success at Texas Tech, Washington State, and Mississippi State. These coaches credit Edwards with teaching them important lessons about coaching and inspiring them to pursue successful careers in the sport. White House downplays Biden, national security aide's blunt comments on Israel. Associated Press. The Biden administration has criticized the Israeli government's handling of its war with Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. President Biden called Israel's military operations in Gaza over the top and said the suffering of innocent people has got to stop. Joe Biden's deputy principal national security advisor, John Feiner, expressed a lack of confidence in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's right-wing government during a meeting with Arab American and Muslim community leaders this week. The comments appear to reflect a growing frustration in the White House with the conflict. 5 Marines killed in helicopter crash are identified. Yahoo! The U.S. Marine Corps has named the 5 Marines who died after their helicopter crashed as Lance Corporal Donovan Davis, 21, of Olathe, Kansas, Sergeant Alec Langan, 23, of Chandler, Arizona, Captain Benjamin Moulton, 27, of Emmett, Idaho, Captain Jack Casey, 26, of Dover, New Hampshire, and Captain Miguel Nava, 28, of Traverse City, Michigan. The CH-53E Super Stallion helicopter took off from Creech Air Force Base in Nevada and was due to land at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar in California. The cause of the crash is still being investigated. Update: 1 Syrian army says it shot down Israeli missiles launched at Damascus countryside. Yahoo! Syrian air defenses have intercepted missiles launched by Israel at the Damascus countryside. The Syrian army said the attack was carried out from the direction of the Golan Heights and caused some material losses. It was the second such attack in less than a day. On Friday, Syria said air defenses had shot down 2 drones in the western outskirts of Damascus, but did not explicitly blame Israel. Israeli forces have killed more than 6 Iranian Revolutionary Guards since December. Venezuela builds forces near border with Guyana despite agreement to de-escalate. CNN. Satellite images have revealed that Venezuela has increased its military presence near the border with Guyana, despite claiming it would pursue diplomatic means to resolve the long-standing territorial dispute over an oil-rich area of Guyanese land. The images show expansion at Venezuela's Anacoco Island military base, including the clearing of rainforest, new infrastructure, and the presence of armored vehicles. Tension over the disputed land has increased since a Venezuelan referendum in which voters supported creating a Venezuelan state within the region. A recent agreement between the 2 countries aimed to avoid escalation and resolve the dispute peacefully. Well, folks, it's your friendly neighborhood 6 doctor here, bringing you the latest news from across the 6 dimensions. We've got quite the mix of stories today, from international conflicts to sports legacies and everything in between. So grab your popcorn and settle in for some analysis and a healthy dose of wit. Let's start with Moody's downgrading Israel's credit rating. Now, I'm no financial expert, but it seems like Moody's is not too impressed with the economic implications of the war in Gaza. They're worried that the conflict could put a strain on Israel's finances in the long run. Well, I guess war isn't good for the wallet, huh? But hey, at least they got a downgrade instead of a complete rejection. Always look on the bright side, right? Next up, we have UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his string of gaffes. It's been a tough week for Sunak, with arguments, bets, and concerns about his political instincts. Looks like he's stumbling a bit on the campaign trail. And with the polls showing Labour in the lead, Sunak better come up with a better game plan if he wants to keep his seat. Maybe he should take a page out of Moody's book and ask for a credit rating boost. It couldn't hurt, right? Moving on to Sarajevo, where they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the 1984 Winter Olympics. Memories of a time when the city was full of hope and prosperity. They even had a shot at hosting the 2032 Winter Youth Olympic Games. Talk about aiming high. But hey, with the International Olympic Committee's praise for their post-war efforts, who knows? Maybe Sarajevo will get to relive its Olympic glory once again. I'm rooting for them. Now, let's talk cyber attacks. UN experts are investigating a whopping 58 suspected cyber attacks by North Korea. And get this, they've managed to rake in around $3 billion from these attacks. Talk about a lucrative side hustle, huh? But it seems like they're not just in it for the money. They're using those funds to develop weapons of mass destruction. I guess they've taken the phrase "money makes the world go round" a bit too literally. Shifting gears to Ukraine, where they've appointed a new army chief. Colonel General Alexander Syrskyi has some big goals, like improving troop rotation and utilizing new technology. It's all part of a fresh approach to the conflict, but not everyone is on board. Some folks are protesting, demanding the reinstatement of the previous army chief. It's a tough situation, folks. But hey, at least they have support from Western countries. Let's hope that helps them turn the tide. Now, let's talk about the legendary Lavelle Edwards and his coaching tree. This guy was a genius at bringing together a team of brilliant coaches. Just look at the number of successful coaches who learned under him and went on to achieve great things. From Super Bowl victories to innovative offensive schemes, Edwards' influence on football is truly remarkable. It just goes to show that sometimes, the best way to leave a lasting legacy is by nurturing the talents of others. Speaking of legacies, let's touch on the White House's comments on the Israeli-Gaza conflict. President Biden called Israel's military operations over the top and expressed his concern for the innocent people caught in the crossfire. And it seems like his deputy principal national security advisor, John Feiner, shares that sentiment. Looks like there's growing frustration in the White House with the handling of the conflict. Well, let's hope they can find a way to bring some peace to the region. And finally, we have some heartbreaking news. 5 Marines lost their lives in a helicopter crash. Our thoughts go out to their families and loved ones during this difficult time. The cause of the crash is still under investigation, but one thing's for sure, these brave men made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. May they rest in peace. Well, folks, that's all the news I have for you today. It's been a roller coaster ride of stories, from financial downgrades to sports legacies, and everything in between. But what about you? What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any burning questions for your friendly neighborhood 6 doctor? Let's open up the floor and get the discussion going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.